There we go. Now we're live. Woo! We're live.
He's got headphones on.
No, we're good. I was just messing with you.
His devastatingly sensitive ears.
Yes, my chop screamed right before we hit the live button. So
devastatingly sensitive ears.
Oh my gosh! All right, welcome everybody to the train show. Fun with trains.
We got Chad's Brick Hobby in the chat.
Hi, Chad.
Coldwater Bricks, Dude Jude, Hope Castle.
Whoa.
There was some other people. Flash Pants.
You know, I forgot my lower thirds.
Oh man, I did too, but I have to go through a completely different setup for mine.
All right, where is it? That one. Nope, not that one. Not that one. That one. That one.
I hadn't heard from Chad's Brick Hobby all weekend, so hopefully he got some stuff done on them tables.
I want to see those tables. I want to see those train tables.
Let's see those tables.
There we go. Okay, fun with trains. Da, da, da. All right, too many screens here. Oh boy! All right, so this episode of Fun with Trains, we are talking about ballasting the train track. I'm not laying you out. I just started the stream. No, you had a whole 30 minutes to complain.
Oh, did you start? Good. I'm just in time. He said.
Okay. Every time. Start the stream. Hey, I have to go out. Hey, I have to go out. All right. So, train tracks. We're talking about train tracks this week. And I got Hoosier Bricks and Butt Chop is on the panel with me.
Good morning.
He said good morning.
But yeah, we're I know some of the other people out in the community have started messing around with their train tracks and changing them up.
Yeah, it's just getting stuff buttoned up, he says.
Button up?
Let's see those buttons, Chad.
But pants and shirts.
Pants and shirts, extra buttons.
Does Chad have an invite?
Yes. Hello, Flash Pants. Hello, Coolwater Bricks.
What's going on, Flash?
Yes, good morning. He said it is. He's right as usual.
Yes, collecting bricks. That's where Fun with Trains came from, because I think of Sheldon, Fun with Flags, and yeah. So, all right. All right. How should we? Behind yo.
Brick 101 is here. Welcome to the party. That was an excellent haul and ball, and everyone who came over from there. Wonderful episode.
It was a very good episode.
Mm-hmm. They should really have more subscribers. Anyone who's not here, who's in the chat right now, should check it out. It's a good weekly program.
Hey, Haley, you got sections of track there in front of you?
Yes. This week I made a curve section. I did a straight section. I'm not letting you out, and I did a switch track. So I wanted to show y'all how I wanted to show each version. The only one I didn't get to is the flex track. That one's a little bit different. I haven't played with the flex track.
Yeah, I haven't tried flex track.
All right, hold on. Let me go let them out because they're gonna keep.
I don't get a train, Iceberg.
What's going on, Iceberg?
I don't. Yeah, just. Wait, what do you mean? You mean like on my picture or in general? Because I can just grab one willy nilly if you want to see some trains.
Butt Chop's got plenty of trains.
Fresh out of trains over here.
So I'm like Haley. I've ballasted the curb section, straight section, and the switch track. Charlie's got some of the double crossovers. I want to grab one of those from him and play with that on ballasting that.
I'm sure that's just as fun as doing 2 switch tracks.
Hope Castle says I drove up and stole all of Butt Chop's trains.
Well, my wife would love you if you did that, Hope. You can have her too. If you come get the trains, take her with you. Take my wife, please.
I'll mute myself and I'll show you.
Sorry, if the bricks are too loud, I'll mute for a second. I'm looking for a specific thing. And it's mass hysteria over here.
Yeah, if y'all bear with us, and
if you want to just bear around with us.
Haley shows all the different things that she's done. I did come up with some prices and piece counts on what it takes to do that.
Speaking of bear, Brick's Bear is here. And thanks for saying my hair looks like Beavis's. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I don't think it really looks like Beavis's, but thank you.
It's the start of something new. Okay.
It's the start of revisiting something old in a new way.
Haley Flash said, "Put yourself on present."
There we go.
There we go.
Thanks, Flash.
Ooh, gorgeous.
All right. So ignore the other colors for now. They're just holding it in place. Field trip. All right. So this section, I've done a switch track, curve section. Actually, 2 different curve sections. Go this way, and then I did a straight section.
Yeah. What?
Each section will take different bricks. They're not all, except for the curve and the switch, take similar bricks. Well, the switch is like a half between the straight and the curve. It's very, actually, I'm going to take it all apart for you so you can see how it looks underneath.
Hello.
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 A good thing about the ballasting is the curves actually lock down.
Yeah,
so they don't shake around.
They're not floating. They're not
Yep.
free floating. Like some people will just have their curves free floating over base plates. It's nice to ballast them because at the ends of each curve, they actually fasten to the base plate.
And same with the switch tracks. The switch tracks actually lock down too.
I
Right.
think the switch track is currently my favorite.
Yeah.
And we can even later on, after she shows everything, we can get into there's different severities of ballasting. You can go all out, or you can bare bone it and still kind of get the same effect with a different look.
Yeah.
I have two. I have both versions because how this one is going to be custom to fit my city, where standard, some of the standard ones look. Sorry, I'm trying to get this one out so I can kind of
That's okay.
see height.
Gotta get ready for the big meal.
there's so many different ways. Like if you see Haley's, hers is all dark bluish gray. Like when I did my ballasting, the bottom layer I did light bluish gray, and then did dark bluish gray on the top.
And I can show you mine. I even did mine differently than both of them. I customized mine from the L gauge from the Penlug site. Mine's not the same, and mine looks different than Haley's and different than Hoosier's.
Yeah, because there was one section. If you ever look up actual pictures, real life pictures, they have a lot of loose gravel on either side to kind of fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of my straight tracks out there. I have actually taken light gray, dark gray, and black, and like kind of detailed it, and then released some of the studs, loose studs, to kind of go around it, just to help give it a little bit more detail. But the switch track. See if it's going to pop up for me. Got breaking all the pieces off. There we go. I don't know where that went. Great Scott. All right. Use the phone. Okay. That's how the bottom. Gosh, I can't get the camera to. There we go. That's how the bottom half looks. And you don't have to use the filler colors. You can use whatever you have in your collection. I just happen to have more yellow pieces, so it worked out great. Expense wise, I think I'm probably rushed to do one section of straight track. I know at least one section has to run about $15 when you're including the track piece itself, plus all the extra pieces, especially all the tiling pieces.
Yeah, like when you go to the L gauge site and look at the instructions online, they use yellow and red. But those two colors, or they're what do they call them? Alternate colors. You put whatever you want because you're never going to see it.
Right. It's a suggestion.
Yeah.
They're just
like I know all theirs is done in dark bluish gray. So you have to figure out how you want to do it. Like I was saying earlier, I put light bluish gray and dark bluish gray in mine, so I had to figure out price and whatnot for two different colors.
Yeah, yellow tiles. I actually have thousands of them because I got them off my pickle rick wall a long time ago. So they've come in handy for anything underneath. And then I know Brick Bears mentioned the pattern, and the pattern is actually on the L gauge site that Hoosier's going to show later, and it's perfect for hiding for when the switch track actually sits on top of it. It just blends in really nicely with their pattern. Yeah, you can see underneath here with more pieces. This piece is always fun to try to get a bunch of.
Yeah, I grab them every chance I get.
It's on my wander list, and anytime I see them in someone's bricklink store, I pick them up because.
Oh yeah, the little beveled edge piece.
Yeah, those railing pieces.
I don't know what Lego calls them. I call them beveled, whatever. I don't know.
Because when I show you the curve track, these are everywhere.
Yeah, you use how many of them to use to do a complete section of curve, which is 4 pieces of track. You use 32 of them.
Yeah.
I know so this is off L Gauge standard for how they did it. There is another website because I know I made a switch track before, but it was slightly different pieces used, but still came out to the same results. Because in the curve track for the L Gauge doesn't use this piece. How some of my switch tracks actually, I've used this piece underneath.
Yeah, the switch track is the most interesting one to do out of all of them.
Right. I use that rounded wedge plate.
Yeah, especially filling in these sections. It's
right.
Yeah. But everything sits nicely once you get it all in there. And, there we go. There's a piece.
I was trying to take mine apart because it's on my train shed, and I wrecked one of them trying to get it off of there. Because I'll actually take the tiles and put them so that if there's two base plates next to each other, I like to have the tiles go onto the next base plate. It keeps the base plate flush, because otherwise I noticed with the curve tracks or these switch tracks, the base plate will pull away and there'll be a gap on one side. I was having that issue, so I just started tiling over where the base plates meet, and then I didn't have that gap.
Yeah, I mean, there's once you get into doing it and see how it's done, you can modify it to your own way. Like I know when I did the switch tracks, I was trying to do the switch tracks with parts that I already had. I probably should have said this when Haley had the track actually up off the base plate, but it calls for the wedge plate that's in the center on the actual base plate, Haley.
Right here?
Yeah, the little wedge plates.
Yeah, where it actually where the actual like junction is.
Yep, and those were the ones that I was always missing. I would need a left, and all I would have was a right. So I actually used a 1x3 plate and a 1x3 tile.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, because these were for me to dig through my wedge plate drawer, because I throw all my wedges in the same drawer. These were very hard. These were actually hard to find for me.
And
depending on which switch track you do, you either need 3 lefts and 1 right, or 3 rights and 1 left.
Yeah, so I mean, once you get into doing it, and calls for this piece or that piece, if you think about it, you can figure out how to make it work.
Now, what's the cost on that per track?
Oh crap!
On the switch, I didn't get to do the switch track. I ran out of time, but I know if you do the curb section, which is 4 pieces of train track, just for the base plate, like Haley's holding, you can do the whole curve for $22. So, of course, that's not including the actual base plate, but
right.
It's 242 pieces. I went by average prices on Bricklink, and it come up to $22. So
that's crazy.
You could probably shop around, because a lot of people got stuff priced below average. You can probably cut it down to around $18.
Okay.
Well, and also, as far as the parts that are completely concealed when you're done ballasting and completely you don't ever see them, those parts could all be sourced from a place that sells like junky bulk brick, like used brick. if you have like a used toy store that lets you, like I have one in my town that it's all he does is he just takes whatever. I mean, some of the bricks are super glued together. They're all different conditions, anywhere from new to vintage crap, and you could source those parts. I could source those for pennies, and you're not going to see them, so it doesn't matter their condition. You know,
Right. Right.
there's no aesthetic value to a lot of the stuff underneath here. So
Well, see, I mean, everybody's putting like brown railroad ties down because I know that's the classic look. But I mean,
Yeah.
all the railroads now are like concrete ties.
right, and mine are like that, Jed. I don't put those wooden railroad ties. All of mine are concrete. I just use the actual ties that are part of that come on the track.
Yeah.
And then underneath is cement or rock, and then around it grass and like this one here. This I'm trying to put this one back together, which I need to go to the site to finish it because it fell apart. Here's the finished one on the base plate.
Oh, okay.
So this is how mine look.
Mhm.
Mine uses a lot less pieces because you save on all those brown tiles. I don't really think it makes it look that much better. I like how this looks. I don't mind it. And I also I cheat and I only put tiles underneath the tracks where it's necessary for it to sustain. Like they're all load bearing tiles. On the actual instructions, you'll see that they I think they overdo the tiles. The train can go over it with less tiling underneath the tracks. You basically strategically just need it to hold up the tracks, so they don't like, so it's not like bouncy,
Yeah,
but
sagging.
yeah, you can do that without as many tiles as they show. For a lot of the under stuff, I was looking at ways to cut corners, to cut cost, because if you're doing a huge layout like Hoosier has, you're talking money right there, and not everybody has a budget for that,
I know I'm gonna have to mortgage the house.
Right. You don't want to have to sell off your family for medical experiments just to ballast your train track. You know what I mean?
Too late.
I know. So this one, I think, was my first train track I was playing around with. And I actually just took all my stuff is, all my city stuff is raised up by a plate. So that's why it's raised up. But I just took a simple 4x4 plate that I found on the wall and ran it underneath. And just used a bunch of 1x2s.
Oh, to fill in the gaps on
Just
the.
fill in the gaps, but
Okay.
it's still just even leaving it on, because this would be the same regular height as most people's base plates, but even
Right.
just filling in the gaps makes it look nice and cleaned up. I think I ran out of 1x1 browns for this one. This one's been sitting on my desk for almost 2 years now, but just, there's like, you don't have to ballast like this if you want to just jazz up your train tracks. You can just filling in the gaps and adding more details to it.
Right.
Still looks fine. So
Oh, I definitely think it jazzes it up quite a bit.
yeah, my when we get closer to the holidays, I'll pull out my Christmas village, and I did black instead of brown.
Yeah, the actual L gauge site calls for black.
Yeah, they call it for black on that one, but I like the brown for the city. But I did the black ones for the Christmas village. And then, all right, we talked about that one. Should we move on to straight track?
That's
Yeah.
that's the best one.
Yeah, if you want to do the straight track, as soon as you're done with that, I'll pull up the reference instructions for the straight track.
If you can figure out a way to make an entire train track that has no turns in it, you're gonna save a fortune.
Yeah, this whole section was such a pain in the butt to do. Actually, I'm gonna cheat and grab this one. Oh shoot! Actually, this one's a little bit different. All right. So this straight track is a little bit different from the L gauge. It pretty much does the same thing, except for the inside is a little bit different. And I modified mine depending on how many parts I needed.
Collecting bricks, I recommend the passenger train. Of this round of trains that are on sale, or that are for sale right now. If you had to pick from the two,
this is where filler brick comes in handy, because a lot of these bright color pieces were mounts a lot along on the wall that I was able to grab. And I can't remember the website now. That doesn't help. They actually just use 2x4s.
Yeah, see, because that's how I did mine, Haley.
Mm-hmm.
The L gauge calls for 2x8 plates.
Yeah,
It's a lot of plates.
All right, so I did it both. Wanted to show both.
Good night, Flash Pad. Good night, Flash Pants. Thanks for showing up.
I wanted to show both ways.
Hi, Aerial Brick. Sorry, Haley, I'm not trying to.
Oh, you're good. Yeah, it's actually very simple for the straight track with theirs. You just have the gray on the outside, which you can always mix up the color, and just tiles and the plates for it to rest on. And then, sorry, just in camera. There we go. That's all it is underneath. Just gray.
Yeah.
And if you have a Lego store, usually the 2x8s are up on the wall.
Yeah, and that's what I did. I built mine from parts that I picked up from the Lego store. Like I had the 2x4 bricks, so I built my sides up like Haley did with slates, and then instead of using the 2x8 plates, and then when you flip it over, you put 2x4 plates in between the gaps in the track, is what the L gauge calls for.
Yep.
Okay.
Which it's interesting. I mean, these are, I like the L gauge because sometimes when I'm moving this section, it's so easy for these to pop apart.
Yeah.
And fall out. Or if I bump into it when moving. That's the only downfall to this guy right now. But
Jude is asking what's the point of ballasting? And Hope Castle said realism, but that's not the only reason. It also makes it so that you can have it on your base plates without, like what Hoosier was saying before, without it floating there, free floating on the base plate. It's actually fastened to the base plate. So it looks more real, and it also is more stable, I guess you could say.
Yes. If you take mine and Haley's case, we take our stuff to shows. So you got to lay a base plate down. Then you got to go through, lay the track on top of the base plate. Well, you're working the same area twice. Now, you ballast your train track. The curb section's attached to the base plates. The switch tracks, they attach to the base plates. So when you take your track apart, you're just pulling it up by sections of base plate instead of having to do it twice, if that makes any sense.
I mean, they're still, I personally like the look, and it just, for me, it just adds more details.
And
I would say that the rail being attached to the base plate probably helps the track from sliding back and forth and derailing your trains, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because I know this. The straight tracks they'll attach straight to a base plate, but then when you go to a curve,
they float up on you because the studs don't match.
They float up, so then that puts a slight incline on on the track, and then it bounces.
Right.
Yeah.
You can set and watch if you just set your track on the base plates when the train's going over it, you can watch the curb. It's bouncing up and down.
Right.
So, but it looks so much better.
It's mainly a stability thing. I think because I don't even if I could put my track down without ballasting and have it attached to the base plates like it does when you ballast, I wouldn't ballast at all. Because to me, for the realism or the aesthetic value, it's not as important as having it as the stability factor. So I mean, it is still a toy. I'm not actually trying to pass this off as a picture of actual real life train tracks. I just think it works really well if you want to use base plates underneath it.
Right.
So it depends on what your goal is, you know. I don't want any bouncing.
In my case, I didn't want just plain train tracks. When I first done my city, in the first show that I took it to, my tracks wasn't ballasted, and then I put 1x1 round tiles and 1x1 round studs in between my tracks, and that was just a pain in the butt. Took me forever to acquire all of them. And then when I got to the corners, nothing lined up. So they were just laying in there loose. And as the train would go over it and the track would bounce, well, some of them would get up underneath the track. Mm-hmm. And I kept fighting with it. And finally, Bricks for Chris talked me in. He's like, man, you should just ballast it. And I was like, no, I've already spent enough money on trains and train tracks. I'm not going to do that. And then I had a brick and mortar store open 5 minutes from me. And like Butt Chop was saying earlier, we might have been in post show when he was saying that. But when you can get...
Wait, how do we do post show before the actual live show?
Well, pre-show. Sorry.
Oh. I thought we were going backwards in time.
It could happen.
Yeah, and look, speaking of bricks,
I think I said that live. Hoosier, I think I said that live as far as getting the parts you don't see from, using not junk parts, but using used parts.
And speaking of bricks for Chris,
yeah,
he says you're welcome in the chat. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it, man. But yeah, it's definitely makes everything look better. Makes everything solid, I think, is the most important part.
Yeah.
Here's the fun one. This one's the most expensive one to do.
Most expensive and the most pain in the butt to line up nicely.
To go, you mean going from curving one way to curving the opposite way?
Well, so this section is actually, this whole part is actually going in my city, and I wanted like a loop on one end, and then for the track to go all the way around to the other loop in the city. So I needed it to break off. But when I originally sat down and started playing with it, I was just trying to get 3 curves to connect to the... I was hoping it would be one less base plate size. Like this is 3 base plates.
Right.
So it was half a base plate larger than I thought it was going to be. Space-wise. To get everything curved and lined up, I had to put in an opposite curve.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to do is utilize all the space on the base plates as you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
And how the rest of the train track is lined up out there, I had to get the Like this is against the garage wall, and then this section's cutting in the middle. So I had to get the alignment to be just right, and I ended up having to add 2 extra pieces to get it all nice. Okay.
Yeah, what I found was really good. I had a bunch of these 16 by 32 bluish gray base plates, and then I just won 2 auctions on eBay, so I'll be getting 24 more of them in the mail, and I got them for about $1.50 a piece for these plates.
Yeah.
And they work really good if you have to like end up having to like, you're like, oh, they don't both fit on a 32 by 32, then I'll just stick one of these. That's what I had to do in my train shed because of the width of the length of my train shed was like not even for the amount of base plates with the switch tracks going to either end and the turns I needed. So I was like, I stuck one of these in the center, and then I had the perfect amount of room so that the turn would line up and not hit the edge of the train shed when the train came off the switch to go into the shed, and like doesn't like smash into the entrance and just kill everyone inside. So you got a lot less fatalities if you get those base plates. Yeah.
I have a lot of these bright green base plates that I don't, since I cover up all my base plates, I cut a lot of these. I think 22 cut just to get how I want the train track for the straight. So it's half a base plate and not a full one, taking up a useless section. So.
And they tried to peer pressure me into cutting. They were trying to get me to become a emo Lego guy cutting, but so far I haven't done it.
Look, I cut one on a live stream.
I know.
Look, I even cut these into smaller sections.
I'm just gonna smash all my Lego and break it.
I cut them except for those.
Most of my Lego has been digested. I have actually ingested it and excreted it, and then I wash it off and I use it to build. Yeah, like that. See, sorry guys.
That's two curved tracks, folks. But
well,
chop in the corner.
Since we're off topic for a minute,
sorry,
Chad, how come there's not a bow tie on that hat?
Because bow ties and this don't go together.
Yeah, you wear a bolo with that. A bolo tie.
I didn't say I'd have a bow tie inside the hat.
All right, let's see if does that help? There.
That looks like a pain in the butt.
This curved track was so much fun.
You should have been there when I started this. Hoosier and Haley helped me start doing this, and I literally was like, I give up. So many times I said that. I was like, this is not even fun.
Yeah, but you started on the switch track though, but Chop, that's the hardest one of them to do.
That's what I want to start on, the hardest one, because then from there everything else seems like cake.
Well, you kind of learn when you do the straight track first and then do the curve, then the switch is pretty much just combining the two plus a little extra.
I needed the rage. I needed the rage.
Rage against the track.
But I kept up. I didn't quit. I just always say that. I say that at work every day. I'm like, this is my last day, guys. It was nice working with you, and I come back the next day. So,
alrighty. So the curve track, which was actually pretty fun. I have this one in sections for easier transportation purposes. I know on the L gauge, it recommends like a half a base plate and then a full base plate and another half, how it's laid out. But this is another one where the colors don't really matter too much. You can probably still get away with not having these gray.
mm-hmm.
The outer line, you do need them to be gray because that holiday one, the holiday curves I've done and the other 4 curves out there, I was able to kind of lay down the track and see where the gaps were and just fill in those, kind of what Butt Chop was doing.
Right.
Fill in the recommended. For this demonstration purpose, I followed all the instructions. See how?
Yes, full on. That's full on tiling right there.
Yeah, just comparison. Everyone does it differently. So, but yeah, each section here is. These are not part of it. It's just connecting it. But
and like I said, it's really once you do it. The first time I did it by their instructions, and then I took and reverse engineered it and saw what kind of changes can I make with it still being acceptable to how I want it to be to how I want the finished product. Because depending on what you're looking for, you can go to different levels of, how much brick you need. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're good. It's why we invite people on to have the communications and the conversations. So it's all good. But yeah, the back of it, it's very curvy. Let's see, adjust the camera up. There we go. That's better. Those railing tiles are all right. Plates are right here. They go all on the inner side.
Buy 1,000 of these. If you can get these, buy 1,000.
Yeah.
Million.
We're gonna raise the price on Bricklink. Here you go.
I'm not. I've done bought all the ones I need.
Whoa. So go to Hoosiers and just take it.
The other, so like the other switch track, you can actually use those wedge plates, the half dome ones. Well, actually fit much nicer under here too. This is my first time doing the L gauge version.
Yeah, that technique there's that's interesting. An interesting technique the way they done it.
Yeah, because it pops. You can pop this whole section out, and it's just
Okay.
so one by. There you go. That's all it is. It's 2 1x2s, 1x3 plate, the curve plate, and the 1x2. It's very simple design. You can get it to focus.
Iceberg says, "Wow, that's craftsmanship. I like it."
And then, of course, the plate sits opposite and covers up and you can, I do like this feature because you can kind of adjust it for the curve. I don't know, I'm kind of half and half. Like building this way used up a lot of my spare parts I had laying around before I had to go to Bricklink and place an order. But the only section I didn't like, it took me a minute, but their design is very, very much easy to flip. Because if you're designing it one way and then you have to flip a section, you can easily flip the pieces on the inside to adjust to the change. I'm mainly talking about because how if I had flipped this the right way, it would be off with how the tiles are one apart. So, I enjoyed making the curved track. It's a little bit pain in the butt when you have to pick it up and move it and you're trying to fix one piece because it will break apart easily. But once you have it all snapped in together, it sits there.
Yeah, I haven't I haven't had no problems, knock on wood, of trains derailing or anything like that yet. All right, let's see if I can do this screen share thing. And I will go to Did it work?
I'm seeing it.
Present. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, I just Google L gauge, and it'll bring you to bring you to this page, and there is all kinds of. This is the standard Lego curve right here, the R40. Now, when you get into like pin lug and whatnot, here's all their special made curves. So there's
their instructions is completely different from standard. I accidentally clicked on the wrong one. I hit pin lug first for the straight. And I was looking at the pieces like I don't have any of those pieces.
We'll go to the Ballast at R40 curved track base plates. And show you the parts list.
Okay. That's awesome.
And then I did the math on that. To do a complete curve, it's 242 pieces, and Bricklink average is $22. Now, that's just a base plate. That's not the track. And like Haley was saying, they want you to use 16 by 32s. I did mine all on 32 by 32.
Because I know you can also do like the gray base plates and then do an extra sliver. And I mean, their curve design actually sits perfectly if you want to put your curve road plates into it. And I played around with a couple of different options.
I've been ballasting on these, the larger ones, so that I can also affix buildings like train stations right onto the same base plate as the ballasted track.
And then for the track on the curve, now you have to do this. You got to times all this by 4. I didn't include the pieces of track, but it's 244 pieces, and the total comes to $18.76.
Okay.
With most of the money is in the 1x1 tiles and the 1x4 tiles.
Yeah, brown tiles, brown 1x1 tiles are very hard to get in large quantities.
Yeah, that's what I noticed when I was trying to find some, because I was thinking about ballasting mine, but it's
a lot of people are doing brown, and I know I had to place an order overseas to get mine, and those little 1x1s, they go fast.
And then let's go to the straight. Here's the straight. The straight tracks are simple. The way that they call for it don't call for very many pieces. That's the actual, what you put down on the base plate. So you can do a base plate, 34 pieces, and it's $3.93. Doing it the way they show it here on the instructions.
okay.
And Haley already showed it, but it's simple. It's not hard. And the red and the yellow is substituted with any colors, so you can do it rainbow if you want it. Nobody would ever see it.
Is the price you just said just for what goes on the base plate, or including what goes underneath the track itself as well.
That's just what connects to the base plate.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say that sounds like a really good deal if it includes what goes under the, because all those plates under the track. I mean, they're not expensive, but.
And then the track is here. And it's simple too. Not very many pieces. So I use 2x4s instead of 2x4 bricks instead of the plates. But once you get playing around with it, you can figure out how you want to go. And if you do it that route, it's 88 pieces and it's $8. $8 to do the track. So you're looking at, $12 to do track and base plate per section.
Not including base plate or track.
Yeah.
Just for the ballast.
Yeah.
Which it sounds like a lot, especially if you have depends on how many feet of track you're running it.
But they're all common parts, and if you're into it like we are, you probably have a lot of those parts.
Right.
So
I was able to ballast quite a bit of track without. I haven't made one bricklink order towards ballasting materials, and I could still ballast more just with the parts I have in my collection. So, I mean, if you have a lot of Lego, you can. You're not. It's not going to cost you that much if you've already got the brick. It just depends on what you already have.
all right, come on, turn off.
All right, there we go. So I set up a tiny little display back here just to give you an idea of what,
Ooh. I love the my own train cars. I love those. I love that hopper.
Like,
yeah.
Even just adding different colors around there, it to me the ballasting just adds more detail to cities and everything. So
it looks it looks better than if you just throw the track down on the carpet or on the floor.
I'm liking your power lines too.
I think I made at least 200 of these things. I'm just waiting on the string, but
those are cool.
Those are going in the city and going around the train track, and so
that's cool.
Then that brick model railroad, that's what the coal cart looks like.
It looks.
That's pretty cool.
Doesn't even look like Lego from here. Like if you look at it from a distance, I can see why people at train shows that don't know that people do Lego trains. They're like, "Whoa! I can't believe that's made out of Lego."
Yeah, it's
the first time they see a Lego layout that's like really well done. They're like, "Whoa, that's Lego! I didn't know you could do that."
I enjoyed this hobby. This is one of you can sit here and play with trains all day, man.
Yeah. I really wish those my own train cars weren't so expensive. Now that they're retired, they just they're insanely priced.
Yeah, these were Uncle Cheap Ass. I had those on my list. So trains, man, trains.
Yeah, I guess I heard that when those were being discontinued, they were Lego was ultra clearancing them out. Obviously, I wasn't into Lego at that time, but that would have been amazing to pick up all those my own train cars on super hyper clearance.
Right? Yeah,
I would have bought 1 million of all of them.
I think I have the green one, the small green engine. trying to think of what else.
In the caboose, there's only like there's not that many rare parts, but isn't there a printed part in the caboose or window or something that's rare?
This one?
Yeah, that one.
Honestly, I don't know. It's just a black train window, the glass piece.
There's not a number sticker or print on that?
Yeah, the only sticker is this.
Okay, that's what it is. Oh, that's what it is. Never mind that.
Actually, it looks like a. Oh no, that's a sticker. Never mind.
Chevron logo, yeah, or Chevron like warning sign.
But no, I like the little red caboose. All right.
I think did we cover just about everything on ballasting?
I think so. I think the only one we didn't do were the little flex track, but which they almost got thrown in here because I couldn't get the curved tracks to line up. But, I don't know. It looks even now looking at the flex track, you could usually put a couple of plates over top to be able to run the tiles over it. Yeah, I'll save this for another time. But yeah, I think we covered everything from this week. Still haven't picked what we're going to do next week. Maybe we'll talk about my own trains.
See, that's something I could learn about. 'Cause I don't have any of those.
I know. Plus, next week is coming off the holiday weekend, so we might just do a free for all
train episode.
So just to help cover, because people might be coming back from town, out of town, and yeah. All right. I guess that's it for today's show, folks. Tune in next week for a show. I'll post. We'll see. We'll have a good topic to talk about. Thank you for my panelists for coming in and joining all the fun. With me, as always, is Hoosier Bricks.
Thanks for having me, Haley.
Chad Brick Hobbies.
Thank you.
And Bud Chop, the one and only.
Thanks for letting me come in.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for all the people in the chat for hanging out and listening and talking about trains.
Iceberg Collecting Bricks is still here. Bricks Bear, Dude Jude 20. Thank you all. I know Reed went to bed.
Yep, you had to hit that.
And if you're watching this on the replay and you have any questions on the ballasting, just reach out to me, Haley, Butt Chop.
You can even reach out to me if you want. I'll be nice. And Iceberg wants Chad Sigfig.
No, we all need Chad Sigfig. Come on now. Oh no, I think I have Chad Sigfig. Okay. Another time, another story. But yeah, feel free to contact us or even leave a question in the chat. We'll answer it next week. And hope everyone has a good night, good start of the week, and we see you guys later. Bye. Bye-bye.